Welcome to the Coop Tank. I'm your host, Steve Cooper, coming to you from SuiteRecording in beautiful Mount Laurel, New Jersey. And I'm here with my producer, Joe Gangemi. And I got to ask you, Joe, it's really hot out right now. And I was thinking about, I always drink water with a splash of 100% fruit juice. What's your go-to drink when it's hot out? What's your thirst quencher?
Coop, it's hard to beat water. I'm not going to lie to you. Water with some lemon is great, but I also really like a nice Arizona iced tea. Just so good and still 99 cents after all these years. So I really like one of those.
That's awesome. Now tell us what's awesome about SuiteRecording.
Yeah, man. So at SuiteRecording, we help brands and businesses to leverage the power of podcasting and YouTube to generate quality content for themselves and their businesses and to reach their audience in a fun and unique way. So we can help with everything from planning your content through to recording and even publication. So if you're interested in learning more, you can contact us anytime at hello@suiterecording.com or visit us on the web at suiterecording.com. That's SUITE. Take it away, Coop.
All right, we have an all-female panel today, and I told this story before, but the reason I like to have an all-female panel every once in a while is because of my mom. My mom graduated Temple University in 1952, and she was the only female in her marketing class. Back then, because most women became teachers or nurses or they got married, and she actually, before she graduated, she had a job lined up as a market research manager with Campbell's Soup, and I know what she went through, and I know it was years ago, but women still go through shit in the business world, and we don't like to talk about it, but it's true. But I always like to have, and I refer to everyone as business people, but I like to have a group of women because they know what's going on, they know the inside, and we have a great group today. People I've met through networking. We have Alexis D'Amico from PCH Technologies. How you doing, Alexis?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
We have the professional organizer, Becky Ritucci.
How are you, Steve? Thank you for having me today.
And we have from Keller-Williams Realty, a person who came to see my comedy show a few weeks ago. So I said, I have her on the show. We have Lisa Bosley. How you doing, Lisa?
Hi, thanks, Steve, for having me. Excited to be here.
All right. So, Alexis, tell us a little about PCH Technology, what you do for the company and what the company is all about.
Yeah, so I'm currently the sales manager here at PCH Technologies. We are a managed service provider located in South Jersey. So we do IT and cybersecurity to mid to large size businesses. And we work within New Jersey, Delaware, Pennsylvania, along with Florida. But yeah, super excited about this.
All right. How about you, Becky? Tell us about, I didn't ask you the company name. It just said professional organizer on LinkedIn. And I was like, I was going to ask you, I forgot. But tell us about what you do.
That's all right. So I am a professional organizer. I go into clients' homes and help them organize their spaces and declutter.
Okay. And how about you, Lisa? Tell us a little about what you do.
I am a lifestyle concierge. So I help people create the lifestyle of their dreams through real estate and connections.
Okay. So Becky, we're going to go to you. How did you end up becoming, what's your path to becoming a professional organizer?
So ever since I was a child, I would go into the supermarkets and help the employees that were restocking the shelves while my mom was shopping or checking out. And I would help put the items where they belong. But then I really started helping friends and family with their organizing projects. And that's where business started to really take off.
Okay, what was your path before that? What was your jobs before you did this?
I was a nanny for many years, and I also worked in retail. My first job ever, I guess, paid was an elf for Santa. So it's an interesting background. And yes, I've had like small short-term jobs here and there, but organizing has really just stuck with me over the years.
That's awesome, man. You're the first elf I've met. It's unbelievable. This is no lie. Back when I lived in LA, I had a job. I dressed up as an organic piece of corn, and I gave soup out. And you laugh, but it paid $37.50 an hour. And I was like, I would have done that forever because there was no pressure. It was me. There was a corn. There was a guy who was a carrot, and a tomato got fired because she got uppity. So they got rid of her. But anyway, so that's funny that you're an elf and I was a corn. So there you go. You learn something new every day. Lisa, how did you, and I know you've had different jobs, you're newer to realty. How did you end up where you are?
Okay. I originally went to school and my degree is in chemistry, and I thought that I was going to work in a lab and be a researcher. I wanted to live in New York City and develop cosmetics for Rebel. And so, as we all know, I'm not there. But what happened is, you know, God, life, the universe, whatever, you have a plan and they're like, yeah, okay, I'm going to show you what's really going to happen. So it's been an interesting journey, but I woke up one day sitting in a bank, and several of my clients had passed away. And then people that I worked with started passing away. And I was like, wow, I don't want my legacy to be, I don't want my tombstone to say she was a banker. Like, I came into banking. Banking was wonderful for me. It gave me a lot of connections. It gave me a lot of knowledge. It gave me a lot of valuable training that I would have never had. It allowed me to dance 3 times on Radio City Music Hall's stage, which was the dream of mine. So I don't regret banking in any way. I was there for about 25 years, but I was like, I don't want that to be my legacy. So I was like, all right, peace out. I'm going to take the summer of Lisa. And I took 3 months off, and various people, real estate agents, clients, or whatever, kept on saying, I think you should go into real estate. I think you should go into real estate. So I was like, you know what? Hey, let me try it and see if I can pass the test. So I passed the test and I got into real estate because I thought I've always wanted to own my own business. Let's see what it's like. And I'm learning a lot. I've learned a lot. It's very interesting. I talked to a lot of experienced agents about the market, about their journeys. I only know a seller's market, but it's very broad, and there's a lot of places that you can take real estate. So that's what keeps me in it. Is it keeps me energized and interested when something might get boring.
Okay. How about you, Alexis? Because I know you're recently out of college. So, what was your path to getting this job? Because I know you were a college athlete too, right?
Yeah, so I went to the university. I born and raised in South Jersey, decided I'm going to Florida for college, played lacrosse there, was on the first women's program they ever had. Then everybody goes back to Jersey. So I moved back after college. Right out of college, I actually got a job with Kraft Mac and Cheese and Heinz Ketchup. Was really lucky in that aspect. Someone reached out to me on LinkedIn, got that job during COVID and everything like that. I was laid off. So I worked with them for about 3 years. I was laid off. Was trying to figure out, what did I want to do next? Where did I see myself? I ended up going to a networking event and I met Tim there. And he said, I want to build out my sales team and everything like that. And I said, I know nothing about technology. Is that okay? I was very, very honest about things. And he said, yeah, we can teach you everything you kind of need to know here. Most of our sales staff and marketing staff don't have IT in their background or anything like that. So that's kind of how I got started. So Tim took a chance on me. I guess I took a chance on being an IT and cybersecurity. Never thought when I graduated college with my degree would I be in this field in the slightest. But I'm happy I took that chance. It's definitely something I never would have kind of looked for, even when looking in jobs and different things like that. Definitely wanted to be kind of in a sales marketing role. Didn't think cybersecurity was the place for me, but I'm going on 3 years, so I'm really excited about it, and I actually really enjoy it.
Good. So we've all met through networking, and networking is so important these days. You refer people. You refer people to different. Oh, I got a guy, I got a woman, I got a whatever. So we'll start with you, Lisa. Why should I refer you to someone? If I know someone who knows what makes you different than the 8,000 other realtors out there? Why should I refer someone to you?
That's a great question. And again, it's all about, do you have that chemistry? Okay. Every real estate person runs their business differently. I like to run it on relationships. I'm a relationship-based person. I've always been in sales. I've always networked. You have to be with someone that you know, that you trust, to do the business. So I like to sit down with someone and understand what their goals are, understand what they're looking for, because that was one of the first things I learned in real estate was not everyone wants what I wanted in real estate. Not everyone wants certain things. Everyone wants a different type of lifestyle. So I like to sit down, offer a complimentary consultation with someone so that we get to know each other and see. Sometimes I may not be the right realtor to help them reach their goals, and I need to be honest enough with them and tell them that. And sometimes maybe they're not the person that I want to work with, okay? And I need to be honest with that, because otherwise the goal for me and the goal for them is to get them where they want to be, whether it's a house, whether they're building something, whether it's commercial real estate, whether it's investing. We both want to achieve that goal, and we have to be honest with each other throughout the process, because it may change throughout the process. So I like it to be a relationship. I like them to have trust in me, and I like to have trust in them. I like to be honest with someone. I do have a lot of connections, so I may not know all the answers, and I'm going to be honest with you, but I do know how to get the answers. I know a lot of people from networking that can help you with maybe what you need to do. So I like to sit down and then get you the information, if you are my client, for you to make the best decision. Because again, it's not my decision what I think you should do. There's options for everyone, whatever they want to do. They have to make those options, but I want them to be educated to know what actually, here's my options, and here's what could happen or doesn't happen. And, that's what I want to do.
Okay. And how about you, Alexa? Why am I coming to you? There's a ton of you guys out there. You can go to networking, but you can throw a rock and hit someone in the head. I mean, why am I coming to you?
Yeah, I think networking got me where I am, so I really value it. But kind of what Lisa said, it's all about building those relationships. So I'm very good at building those relationships. I love talking to people, but it's also being in young professionals groups and kind of connecting the young professionals with the mentors. That's what I truly love to do. And I think a big thing I learned growing up is never burn a bridge. So it's always about building relationships. It's not necessarily the first person you talk to. You're not going to get a deal from that, and that's okay. It's building that relationship and seeing where that climbs and kind of connecting the mentors to the mentees. I mean, I've been a mentor here. I've had a lot of interns. I still coach locally, and just the girl, even with that, people coming to me or my old players coming to me like, hey, can you connect me with someone? I'm looking for a new job. I like that aspect of it. I mean, being in a younger generation, everything like that, networking got me the career I have. So I like kind of helping that generation, connecting with them with people. Someone just reached out to me the other day. I said, look on my LinkedIn. Who do I follow? If there's anyone I can connect you with, please let me know. I want those people, especially right out of college, that feel like I don't know what to do. I don't know what career I want. It's a very confusing time. Like for you, you're 22 years old, you're done school, you have all these student loans. Now what? Where do I go? How do I even get a job? And different things like that. So building that network that I've built to just help other people and continue that is really why I think I do it, and I want to continue that network. So getting to know everybody else helps me kind of continue that network for the younger generation so that they aren't in that panic mode right when they graduate college.
It's funny you say that. I had someone reach out to me LinkedIn. I went to Stockton State. Well, now it's Richard Stockton University, but I went to Stockton State. This young girl reached out. She said, I thought I'd be, a fellow Osprey reach out, because that's our mascot, the Ospreys. And I got back to her and I said, yeah. And we ended up doing a Zoom call, and she worked for New York Life. I connected her with someone I knew who works for New York Life. And it was great. And it's funny what you said, because I was talking to her and I was thinking back when I was like 22, I knew I wanted to do stand-up, but I had to get a day job before I got on the road. And I remember like that excitement, but that fear. And she told me, like, you're so used to being in college. You're so used to just partying all night. At least I did, partying all night and going and taking your exams. But then you get into real life, and it's funny you say that. Now, Becky, why? Okay, my wife can organize my stuff. Why? And I see it on TV, like to organize the shelf organizers. Why am I coming to you to organize my life?
So I like to think of myself as taking a different approach, and I accommodate myself to each client. So it's not a one size fits all system. And what I do with one client is not necessarily what I would do with another client.
Okay.
So with that being said, it's not like all like color oriented or certain containers or how other people may do it. And not that what they're doing anything wrong. It's just mine isn't a one size fits all.
Okay. Now we're going to stay with you on this question, Becky. Who's an important person in your life? It could be a mentor. It could be someone. We all have different, and as we go through our lives, we get different people. I have a lot of people who are important to me. You know, my
Yeah.
wife is very important to me now, and I have other people who were important to me years ago. My ex-wife was never important to me, but that's why she's my ex-wife. But Becky, who's someone who's important? Who's someone who's important
That
to you?
this is a question I don't think I've ever answered or been asked before. So this is really a tough one because I have, like you're saying, I have a lot of important people, but to give you a short answer, I would probably have to say my husband,
Why?
because we move for his job and it's always an equal relationship and there's always a balance and we support each other with whatever we do. And so I can choose and do what I want that makes me happy. And I don't want to say he allows me to do so are the right words, but he definitely supports and just always says whatever makes you happy. And I think that a lot of people don't have that in their life. And I think I'm very lucky and fortunate to have that in my life.
See that? Do you tell them that?
Oh,
All
absolutely.
right, I'm gonna say because if you don't, you should, because you'll be like,
Yeah.
you'll be getting gifts left and right. My wife tells me stuff, and I'm like, wait, I'll be somewhere. I'll go. Oh, Old Navy's having a sale. I'll get her something. So see that good. Keep telling them that.
Yeah.
How about you, Lisa? Who's someone who's been important, who's played a role in who you are now?
Okay, I would have to say my mother. My mother's a saint. And I have said that to her. I didn't always think that. I was born head first and headstrong, and I haven't stopped since. So any woman who can handle that with the grace and the ease and the calmness that she did, and I have always made my own decisions. You know, something happens, I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do, and I just go ahead and do it. And then sometimes I'll go to her and say, what do you think about this? And she's like, I'm not sure that's a good idea. And I'm like, okay, me and her aren't alike, so I'm going to do it anyway. And there's been a couple times I did it anyway, and then I wanted to change my idea again. And I went back and she goes, look, I didn't like this idea the first time, but I think what you're going to do now is really wrong. And she has stopped me from making some bad decisions even worse. So I would say my mother, but I will say, and I am lucky to still have her in my life, but I will say in the journey of life, everyone that I meet or that I've worked with or, been friends with has impacted my life in some sort of way. I will say most of them have been good. I can't really say there's maybe a few people that I'm like, you know what, I'll never do that again because I see what it looks like on someone else. But I think a lot of people have influenced my life, but my mother is the most important.
Okay. How about you, Alexis?
I'd have to say both my parents, honestly. I mean, they're both very hardworking. My dad's been with the same company for 30 years and definitely climbed all the way up the ladder. So when it comes to more business questions and things like that, I definitely go to him and get his opinion on things, and I value it so much. And then when it comes to more of the compassion and the emotion side of things, I definitely go to my mom. They've been my cheerleaders my whole life, whether it was watching me on the lacrosse field, giving me the opportunities I had, going to all the games I have. I'll never be able to thank them fully for that. Even my teammates thought I was from Florida because the amount of times my parents would show up to games for me. And then when I graduated, they just have helped me on that path of just letting me know to take those risks, do those things, but do it a little more calculated than maybe I always want to do it. But they've given me great guidance. They've provided me with obviously a very, very great life, and I'm very thankful for them. But just the knowledge they have through the years and having that open door policy. I still go to my parents probably once a week, stop by, hoping my mom's cooking something good, but I can tell them anything. They'll give me all the advice they have to give, whether I take it or not. It's always up for debate, but I'm just thankful to have kind of that system and have two people I can go to for anything and stop by whenever, and their door is always unlocked for me. So I'm very appreciative to both of them.
It always goes back to the moms and cooking. My mom has bad Alzheimer's, and she was always a lousy cook. She's a great mom, lousy cook. But my wife's mother, and my wife's Italian, is an amazing cook. And I always sit there, man. If I do her a favor, I'm like, You know, I want a lasagna out of this. I'm like, I don't fuck around. I'm like, I got you a lead for what you do. I want a lasagna. So it's always good if your mom's a good cook. If they're not, I never had homemade mashed potatoes to like years. My mom never made them. So anyway, so we're all at different points in our lives. You know, we all have different careers, and we'll start with you, Alexis. What motivates you? I mean, you're an athlete, so I'm sure your motivation is you probably learned at a young age for motivation. But what motivates you in your day-to-day life now?
I think setting goals for myself still has continued from being an athlete and different things like that. So it motivates me every day. I mean, I've been promoted within this company. I'm now our sales manager. So I do have employees under me that are looking up to me and I'm creating systems for them to kind of make their jobs easier. So I would say goals definitely motivates me. And then personally, obviously, by 30, I have goals. By 45, I have goals and everything like that. So I'm just definitely a very much goal-oriented person. I mean, I guess that started with being an athlete, and then I definitely translate that into my professional life. Being a sales manager at 29 was not necessarily a goal I had, but I definitely had the goal to get there by 30, 35. So I'm happy about it. I feel very greatly about that. And I think just having goals is truly what drives me. And then honestly, the impact I have on other people as well. I think at the end of the day, I mean, IT and cybersecurity, I'm not saving lives. I definitely know that, but just helping my team to obviously, I want them to build their careers wherever it may take them. I want to make sure they grow as people. And then when I coach young athletes, it's the same kind of idea. Seeing the impact I have on them definitely drives me to want to do better. I mean, I have athletes that I have that were like, oh, I saw your LinkedIn post. That's so cool. Like, oh, I looked you up here or there. So I think knowing that as I grow with my career, people are following that and they're kind of looking up to that. I just want to make sure I set a great example for them. And I think having that village below you that's constantly motivating you kind of just drives you to want to accomplish all those goals, but then set goals for other people because you know they can get to that point.
Okay. How about you, Becky? What motivates you? What motivates Becky Ritucci?
What motivates me? I guess it really depends on what I'm doing because I'm not super competitive, but I'm not the best loser. So I like to win, but I also like it to be fair. So like with like cards or games or something, I don't like to lose. So I guess there's a little bit of competitiveness.
What about in the business world? What motivates you? What motivates you to get shit done, to get clients?
I think I was just kind of born a hard worker. And I think I learned that from my parents, especially my dad, and just always being a doer and just always working and just no matter what you have, just continue to work and enjoy it.
Okay.
But I think it's just kind of self-motivation.
Okay. How about you, Lisa? What motivates you?
Challenges. I like a challenge, and every day there's a challenge to me. There's so many things out there. There's so much that I can learn. I am very competitive, and I even compete in my head against stupid stuff like, and I'm like, you gotta take that back a step, but it's a challenge. Someone needs to find a house. It's a certain thing. That's a challenge. To find clients. Okay. That's a challenge. You go out there, you knock on someone's door, you're calling people up, they're hanging up. You know what? This is what I think is fine. You can hang up, but one day you're going to need me. And I want to know that I'm here. I want you to know that I'm here for you, whether it's selling a house, whether, like you're saying, you need a job, whether you need a connection to, someone who can organize you. I have these connections, and I want to know that I'm going to let you know. You're challenging me. You're saying, quit knocking on my door. Don't call me again. I'll never sell my house or whatever. That to me is a challenge, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to continue to do it.
Okay. So, someone told me I'm funny, and I am. I'm not going to lie. Lisa, you see me on stage. I know how to command the stage. I don't, and that's something. And that's a characteristic I like about myself. And when I meet people, when I first met people when I moved back here, I didn't tell anyone I was a comedian because I was working for a company. It wasn't about me. I've never been someone it's about me. But then I did a show in front of a bunch of people who were in the Chamber of Commerce. They're like, holy shit, you're really funny. And I go, you work a little blue. I go, that's all right. I like to use the F-bomb. I like it as long as it's an adjective. Or, I don't use it as a verb. That's wrong. But that's a characteristic I like about myself, being funny. So we'll stick with you, Lisa. What's a characteristic that you really like about yourself?
I didn't realize that this was a characteristic. I thought everyone had this characteristic. I have the ability to talk to people and actually understand like both sides of the story. I don't know how to exactly describe it, but talk to people, understand, their journey, their hardships, their whatever. And even if it's something that I don't agree with, I can then understand where they're coming from and how they feel. And I thought everyone could do that. And then I learned that people can't. Like people, stand on this is it and this is right. And I'm going to persuade someone. But once I talk to someone and I understand it, then there is this thing in my head where I'm like, okay, I'm not right and they're wrong, and they're not right and I'm wrong. I need to see it from their side and understand why they're doing the things that they do. Like, it's weird to me, but I've always been able to do that just by asking people questions. Like, just because I love people. I mean, I love to talk to people. I ask them questions. Sometimes I'm drilling them and people have told me to a little back off and everything. It's only because I'm curious. So that's another thing I like about, I'm curious. I always want to learn. I always am going to be asking questions, and it's not to prove you wrong. It's so that I can understand.
Okay. How about you, Becky? What's a characteristic that you like about yourself? That you really, I can say like, or you're glad you have, because I'm sure there's a lot of things you like about yourself. Not like someone who goes, "Oh, woe is me." But what is something that you're really like? This is cool, man. Like, this is cool.
I think I appreciate the fact that I'm pretty easygoing. I try to go with the flow and be accepting of all sorts of people and all kinds of situations, and just really just be easygoing.
Okay. How about you, Alexis?
I think my honesty is a characteristic I like. I mean, some people might say I'm a little too honest here or there, but I'm definitely very blunt. I tell it like it is, and I just feel like as I get older, more and more, I find people tell it less and less like it is, but I was very much raised on you tell it like it is, you can say how you feel, and that's okay, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's definitely a time and place here and there, but I think my honesty, even my friends say it all the time when they need advice, or they are like, okay, tell me your opinion, like I'm going to lay out a situation, or even in our workspace, I'm going to lay you out a situation. Tell it like it is. Like, I want your honest opinion. And I think a lot of people come to me for that because I don't necessarily sugarcoat it. But I definitely will tell you like it is. I'll be a little too blunt sometimes. But I think it's a great quality that I don't know if I always loved it, because sometimes people will get a little more angry at me than none. But then when I realize more and more people will come to me for advice just because they know I'm not going to, excuse my language, bullshit them. I realized it's actually a great quality to have, and I'm happy that I was kind of raised in that way, and I've definitely continued that on, definitely from my father.
Okay. So I'm going to preface this question by, I've noticed in the business community in South Jersey, in the Philadelphia area, when it comes to women, very supportive. There's NABO. There's, Melissa Beach runs that great group. Maria Grande runs a group. There's different women's lunches. Jersey Man does a woman's, meetup. But then you hear stories about how women like to tear each other down. Now, and that's going on with Caitlin Clark right now. Caitlin Clark is getting all this bullshit when, she's changed the league. It went on with Taylor Swift, who I'm a Swiftie, I'll admit it. But she was getting, I always noticed it was like these old women who were like, she sucks. I'm like, you're like 75. You never even heard her. Like, where's the venom come from? And I don't get it. But that being said, because I've seen in my eyes a very supportive community in the women's business community. But then I was talking to two women last night who said they have encountered where people tear each other down. I want to know, do you see that? Do you see people tearing each other down, women? And be honest, we'll start with you, Becky. Do you see that? Because I know you run a big networking group, so you're out there. Do you see women tearing each other down, or do you think this community is a lot more embracing, or both?
I think this community is a lot more embracing. I personally haven't been present in any of those situations with women tearing each other down. But I also do know I have witnessed like competitive sides or a little bit of cliquies, like, sticking together, different women sticking together, probably because they know each other. Like, I don't know the situation or the story, but I mean, I've had so many women support me and be open arms to me and warm and welcoming when I moved here and really helpful and sincere. So I haven't seen much of that.
Okay, no, it's funny because you said, because that's the perception I had. But then talking to some people lately, because whenever before I have a panel, if I'm at an event, I always talk to women. I run these questions by more from past events. So okay, that's what I've seen. Now, how about you, Lisa? Have you seen this cattiness, this competitiveness, this tearing them down? Like, we hate Taylor Swift. I hate that one. I had this girl, like, I know, oh, she's awful. I'm like, she's awful. She sells out yeah, she's awful. Yeah, okay. Anyway, go listen to your frickin' Captain and Tennille, for Christ's sake. You don't know who Captain Tennille is, but Lisa does. Lisa, what have you encountered?
Okay. As we know, I'm of a different age group, and so I'm going to say yes, I have seen it, because when and I'll just say, I was born in the 60s. Women didn't have jobs. Obviously, I wanted to work, and that was just starting to occur. I had brothers, okay, so I didn't have a sister. So girls work differently than boys, okay? Steve, and I'm sure you know that. So I didn't understand how girls worked, okay? So most of the jobs that I got at first, I really didn't work with, as I'm going to say, the women, okay? I worked in jobs with men, okay? And you had to learn the boys club rule, and you had to accept certain things. But again, I was raised with brothers. So, to me, that was normal. But then there were some cattiness going on that I didn't even recognize. I didn't realize it until after the fact, that what the women were saying was not what they were meaning. And men say what they mean, just like Alexis said, she's just honest. That's again how I was brought up. And people from women don't take that brutal honesty sometimes. I mean, it has changed, but I'm just saying through the years. So I had a little difficulty, now I have to learn that what this person is saying, again, it didn't happen to me, but I saw people getting makeovers. Okay. Which again, if you're in the corporate world and they're taking you for this, expensive makeover, but it basically was saying that how you looked was not right. Okay. So it's sort of those kind of subtle things. I do think that it has changed. I've seen it change. I mean, when you talk about Taylor Swift, again, I agree with that. I am not a Swiftie, but I admire Taylor Swift for what she has done for women and business, okay? That she can sell out and sell that much merchandise on her, on her concert tour here in Philadelphia. Every woman should be celebrating it, whether they're 75 or whether they're 10, okay? That's, again, setting an example for women to get you further. But there are older women, and I'm not saying everyone, that resent a woman and still feel that a woman's place is not in business. And, that's just my perception. But again, I'm older. Has it changed? Yes. Is there a lot of stuff going on that support women now? Yes, there is. There definitely is. And I wish I had it, years ago when I was having those struggles. But, people get through it. I've heard it from realtors telling me the same thing. It used to be an old boys network and they had to fight with the old boys to get where they had to be. So yes, I've seen it, but Becky and Alexis maybe have not seen it.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you, Alexis, because you said you're 29. So you're newer to and you're newer at a different time. So what have you encountered it? But also as an athlete, you probably got torn down because they're probably like, oh, wait, why is she starting? Oh, who does she know? But no, ask me, tell me what has your experience been?
Yeah, I think for the most part, women are very much embracing of each other. I mean, again, being an athlete and then being in the business world and now being in the IT world, there's not a lot of women in IT. There's not a lot of women in business, and there's definitely not a lot of women in IT. But I think for the most part, everyone's been very welcoming and very embracing. And a lot of my mentors obviously have been women that have been in the business world for a long time, and they've obviously had a lot more of a struggle than I have. But I think also with that and coming in later, it's also the competitive aspect. So you're a younger woman that's joining this workforce, and now it's kind of becoming more competitive because there's people that have been in it longer, so they know more than you, but they look at you as a threat sometimes too. So I see both sides of it. I would say for the most part, I think the women, especially in the networking, at least the networking I've done, have always been very welcoming to me, or very much a mentor to me, helping me in all aspects, whether it's my career or even in my personal life, different things. There's always going to be a setback, especially being in male dominated kind of world, even in PCH in general. I mean, we have a lot more men that work for us and different things like that, or even the conferences I go to. When I go to these tech conferences, there's not a lot of women. We know that, and that's okay. But I also think that's one of the best parts about being a woman in business or being a woman in technology. It's kind of the fact that it's very underrated, or people don't think that necessarily women should be in these industries and different things like that. But being a powerful woman in these industries make it even better. And I think that's definitely when everyone kind of embraces each other. I mean, as business owners or and anything like that, I think for the most part, it's very embracing. It's a very positive aspect. I think any aspect of your life can be catty, whether it's boys or girls clubs, whatever it is. But I would say overall, it's been very positive. I think women support women, and it's definitely like a lot of girls. And I think that's what we need to continue, especially being in a younger generation, and what I would like to continue to see in the workforce for sure.
Okay. Well, we're going to keep on this women's topic because I have three women. And as I was at an event last night, and I do cocktails with Cooper. So people, the next one's July 10th at Splits. It's always got a good turnout. And one of these women told me, and this is what's good. It fascinates me because it's networking. That like some dude asked her out at my event. And I'm like, wait, this is networking event. This isn't singles night. This isn't. I mean, I understand. When I go to network, I never went to networking to meet friends. Now I have become good friends. With a few people out of the group that I networked. But that was fascinating that, you're going for business. It's not, Match.com or whatever. It's you're going for business. Now, have any of you encountered that where guys sit there and I always say I drop into the demographic of a creepy old white guy. Okay, but luckily I have a cute wife, so everyone knows I'm harmless. They know people who know me on Facebook. I always show pictures of me and Joanne, so they know I'm not going to sit there and like try to hit on, and I see it, and it disgusts me sometimes when I see, just the body language and just some of the things people say when they're trying to be funny, but it's just, to me, it's sexist and it's out of place. But that being said, Lisa, do you ever get hit on at networking events? I mean, or do guys treat you differently because you're a woman? Do not take you serious, maybe? I mean, what's your experience? And not from the past, because I know I've heard hell stories about back then. It's like, the guys are giving women massages at networking events. Like, what is wrong with you? But has anything like that happened to you?
Okay. If we're going to say recently, I'm going to say no, but I'm an old woman now. Okay. So you can get a creep vibe, though. I will say that you do at times get a creep vibe. There's been times where someone said, "Can I ask you a question?" And it's sort of, it might not be, let's say, it might not be inappropriate, but it may not be business appropriate. Like you can just sort of tell by their vibe. I mean, at times I'm a very open person. And so I usually say, yes, what is it? And, people will ask me, are you married? Which again, to me, if we're networking someplace, that's none of your business. Yet I don't know you well enough. I mean, they'll ask if I'm married or what my age is. Again, what I don't feel is a business appropriate question at a networking event. Okay, maybe if we've done business together, we've had lunch together, we've talked a little bit more. Okay, maybe we'll go into that a little bit further, but at a networking event. But I will say yes. Recently, no, other than, you get a little creep vibe and those, how old are you or are you married?
Okay. And we know, well, Becky, if someone asks you if you're married, you'll go, yes, and he's the most important person in my life because I said it on the Coop Tank. And then you're out. So how about you, Becky? Because you're out there and you run a big event, and I know your events are good. You're having a pig roast coming up, right? That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Pig roast. But now, have you ran into that at all?
Yeah, I actually had a really bad situation happen a couple of years ago. And
Tell me.
I'm willing to talk about it. I just want to make sure that everybody else that's in this meeting is comfortable too, if you don't mind me just asking that, because it's like, I really don't talk about it often. I don't want anybody else to feel uncomfortable. That's all.
I think, well, you guys comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay. So a couple years ago, I was not completely seduced, but in a very uncomfortable, awkward situation. And he was trying to convince me that I should kind of hook up with him. And it became really nasty and really ugly. And yeah, it wasn't good. And I was told that I'm allowed to talk about it. I just choose not to because I feel like it's very personal, not just to me, but also out of respect. Like this person's married and has a family, and I'm not trying to start any problems. But it was just unfortunate that that situation happened. And I was also told by multiple people that I'm not the first person that he's done that with, which to me is awful because that means that this is continuing to happen and that's not okay.
Yeah, that is. And, it's funny, and I'm glad you said it. I have no problem outing people. Okay, I'm going to tell you a quick story. My wife has been on TV many times talking about this. My wife's a sexual assault victim. She was date raped. She's by the Match.com date rapist. He ended up being a serial rapist. He raped like 45 women in Philly. His name's Jeffrey Marsalis. He went to jail. And this is before we started dating. I knew her in college. But I'm glad people come out about this because the bottom line is, you said you feel bad because the guy has a family. Well, excuse me, fuck that guy. Because if he has a family, he shouldn't be doing that stuff. So I'm saying you should talk more about it because this is the stuff that we need to get out there because people take it for granted and things have changed now, which is good. But well, thank you for sharing that. So you've gone through it. But since then, has anyone like really hit on you like at your events? Because you always have at cool places, like cool.
No, there's a couple people that it's not always the most comfortable, but nothing like that. And also, like I'm personable, and I think that gets mixed up sometimes with flirty, which I try very hard to never cross that line where I keep it very professional with even like not even like touching, how you can like touch somebody like laughing, and that I really try to not do any of that because I never want to mislead somebody. And I always tell people I'm married and all of that. I think it's just hard when you're young, and I'm not trying to be cocky, but also when you're attractive. And if you're fun and laughing, it can also give a wrong impression. So I have to be very careful of how I present myself with not wearing low cut outfits or not touching people. And even if I want to be like, oh, haha, like that's funny, so it's just proceeding with caution and being aware of yourself.
See, to me, that sucks because it's 2024. You should be able to, if I want to walk into a networking event in a Speedo, people are going to get sick. but I should be able to walk with the goddamn Speedo.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. How about you, Alexis? Because you're the younger generation. You know, you just started getting into networking, and you know, as I said, I always laugh when like the older guys take a picture with like two young girls, and I'm like, you look like such a dick. Like seriously, like no one like at my wedding, my niece is beautiful. She's lives in Manhattan, you know, and when some guy knows, oh, who's that? I'm like, dude, it's my niece. And she's like, young enough to be your daughter. I said, she's younger than your daughter. So back off. How about you, Alexis? Do you run into it at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said this somewhere else before. LinkedIn is for professional lives. It's not sliding into DMs. I've had that happen to me. I've had times before where I have asked people to do lunch just to learn about them as a business owner and different things like that, just being interested in meeting them. And they've said, why don't we do dinner? Or why don't we do drinks later at night? And that's kind of my initial reaction to, okay, you don't actually want to learn about PCH or about me or network with me. So I've had it happen. I've been in points where, yeah, I've been in pictures where I'm on one side and someone else is on the other, and then it gets posted, and I'm like, what's happening with that? It definitely has happened to me, obviously not to the extent that Becky's gone through, and I don't think anyone should go through that. But I've gotten many messages, and then when I don't respond, I've gotten nasty messages, or people reach out to me on my personal social medias telling me, well, why you post this on your personal social media, but you don't post this on your LinkedIn? And I'm a big believer. And yes, you can put some things that are like personal on LinkedIn, but at the end of the day, it is a professional platform. Like that's why I have a Facebook and an Instagram for obviously the things I do on the weekends and stuff like that. But I've had comments made to me, or people follow me on my Instagram and said, oh, I saw you were on vacation last week. I'm in a bathing suit. Like, okay, I don't know why you need to tell everyone in the group you saw my post from last week when I was in a bathing suit. Everyone wears bathing suits if they go to the beach for the most part, or go wherever, and I was away. So I've had comments made to me like that in a professional setting. And luckily, most of the other people I've surrounded myself with, if I don't defend myself immediately, which I have no problem doing, they'll be like, why would you say that? Or what, like, why? Like, I obviously added you thinking we were friendly or whatever it is, or we've made like a connection or networked. But the minute you start saying how you looked at my personal social media in front of other people and make comments like that, that kind of just puts an ill taste in my mouth. I mean, I know that's part of being a woman in a man's world, like we're kind of discussing, but never to the point like extremely bad. But I've definitely had comments made to me, or people kind of sliding into my LinkedIn DMs, which I didn't know was a thing until I started networking.
You know, no one ever slides into my DMs. So people, if you're on LinkedIn, I'm going to say no because I'd never cheat on my wife. But slide into my. You're hurting my confidence, people. I'm losing my confidence. No one is sending me sliding into my LinkedIn DMs. I only get those damn paid things, or whenever I post this show, I get 8,000 people going, oh, they add me to be a friend because they want to help with the podcast, and I say no. So that was good. Thank you guys. You're all very open, and I appreciate that. Now let's talk about something more uplifting, okay? We'll start with you, Lisa. What is success to you? At this point in your life now, what is success to you?
Success to me is freedom. Freedom to do what I want, which I think was always what I wanted. But when you're younger, you think, okay, I want to chase the money and I want to do that. And, you know, while I'm not saying that money's not nice, okay, there's other things. Freedom to do what you want. Be with your family, you know, take time off if you need it, you know. It's freedom to me.
Okay. How about you, Alexis? Because once again, you're new in your career, and you said you're very goal oriented. But right now, what is success to you?
I think success is just kind of what Lisa said, even though I know I'm younger and obviously it's just it's being able to like check those things off for bucket lists. Like, yes, it's success. If I'm successful in my professional life, I'm able to take those trips or go on those adventures or travel with my friends. So I think success is being able to one, be able to go on those things and not worry about it. So I'm not worried like, oh, how am I going to pay this bill or pay that bill? Having those success or making those sales, getting those commissions ultimately is to check off kind of all those things on my bucket list. And I think kind of what Lisa said, it's the freedom, it's being able to do all those things that if I didn't work hard and like accomplish all my goals, I wouldn't be able to just go for a weekend here or go for a weekend there, or visit my friends that live in Florida or whatever like that. So I think it's the freedom and the success that comes with that, because you work so hard for something, but at the end of the day, like, you're working hard and you can have nice things and different things like that. But for me, the success is being able to travel and go on all those adventures and see all these new places.
How about you, Becky? What's success to Becky Ritucci? I love saying that name, Ritucci. It's
Well,
such a
thank
good
you.
name.
Thank you. It would be happiness. Being able to choose what you want to do every day to be happy, to work and do what makes you happy. Ever since I was little, I always said my goal in life was to just be happy. And that looks different to each person and each individual, but I truly believe that happiness is most important.
Okay. Happiness is important. I'm a miserable bastard, but that's all right. I can get through it. Actually, I'm very happy. You couldn't tell. Let's talk about networking, because we all do it. And I brought it up earlier. And let's talk about the positive side of networking. What? It's a two-part question, but don't go too long. What do you like about networking, and what makes you a good networker? And we'll start with you, Becky, because you do these big events. So you have to like it, because I know when I do it. You always worry when you do an event. Like, what if people don't show up? And then you put your, and then you go, well, screw it. Like, at least if 20 people showed up, that's 20 people showing up. But I always sit there and go, oh, you good. And Becky, because you do it, you probably go, you and Chris and Hillary, oh, what if no one shows up? We feel like assholes. And I go, oh, you're at this event. But what do you like about networking, and what makes you a good networker?
So what I like about networking is especially the fact that I get to do these things a lot with Chris and Hillary, which we make a great team together. But I truly love bringing people together, making them feel comfortable. I love hosting. So to me, it kind of feels like a giant party, like offering food, offering to clear the plates, offering to help, but also introducing people to each other. So people are making new friends and building new connections and making new relationships. It's amazing when you can help someone.
Okay. How about you, Lisa?
I'm a Gemini and I like to talk. So I like to go and talk to people. Like I love people. I like to talk to them. And so I like that part of networking. And yeah, it is a party. To me, it's a party and I'm talking to people. It's a great time.
I met a jerk at a networking event last night. This guy, he was hitting on he was hitting on the girl I went to say hi to, a friend of mine. It was one of those pay groups. Me and my friend, neither of us were in it. And as soon as she walked away, he's like had wanted to know nothing to do with me. And I'm like, dude, come on, buddy. Yeah, it's all. Be nice. And then he didn't. And then he was walking in front of me, and he didn't hold the door for me when he went outside. I'm like, screw this bastard. And I wouldn't say his name because I forget his name. That's how inconsequential. But he was a business coach, and there's so many damn business coaches. There's more. I think there's more business coaches than people who need business coaches at this point in life. It's really confusing. How about you, Alexis? What do you like about networking, and what makes you a good networker?
I think what I like about it, I mean, we were kind of talking about it earlier. It's nice to leave the office. It's nice to do that face to face. I think COVID really made a lot of people realize that we took for granted being face to face and being able to go to these events or parties or whatever it is. So I love that like connection. I love getting to talk to people and getting to know people. And I think what makes me good at it, it's probably the bartending skills I have too. I'm one of those people, I can talk to you. I'll probably know your kids' names, your cats' names, their hamster's name, and everything in between. And I might get the name of your business. I just think I'm good at talking to people, and I feel like a lot more about their lives or their vacations and everything in between than their business. A lot of times the first time I meet them, and I think having those initial connections and building that relationship also is ultimately what builds like that success or builds you being able to start business with those people or them connect you with other people. I think learning about people kind of on a personal level or really getting to know the person has made me very successful or why I'm good at it. I'm not necessarily looking at people like, oh, you're going to be one of our partners one day or anything like that. I truly just want to get to know people. I find people very interesting. I like to getting to know about your pets, and somehow I find out all these things, not really necessarily ever meaning to know them, but people, I guess, feel open to open up with me. And I think that's a very good skill, I guess I have, or it's just I'm easy to talk to. I'm not sure.
Okay, you said you know bartending. Okay, me and Joe were just talking about the Beastie Boys, the song Brass Monkey. Do you know what a brass monkey is?
Yes.
What is it?
We don't. So someone asked me this the other day. Actually, I don't bartend as much as I used to anymore. And someone said to me the other day, they're like, golden monkey, brass monkey, it's all the same. And I was like, and I was told what one of it was, but apparently that's not what it is anymore. That's all I know, because this actually came up not that long ago, because that song came on at the bar I work at, but I don't work there very
Okay,
often.
all right. I just want to know because it's a pre-mixed drink. Now we're gonna. This is a question I started a while back, and I enjoy it because I enjoy the answers. Because and if you don't read business books, that's fine. I don't read them. I don't read any business books. I could give a shit. I did read Malcolm Gladwell, who was actually in the Brat Pack documentary. It's pretty good. Business books. Becky, do you read any business books? And is there one that's meant something to you? And if you haven't, you can say no. I don't read business books because this is a judgment-free zone. This is like Planet Fitness is a judgment-free zone. Do you read any business books?
No, but I did just purchase Miracle Morning in hopes to read it. I do enjoy reading. I just don't read business books.
Okay, what's one of your books that you've loved in your past?
Oh, Midnight Library.
Okay. All right. So good. You're like me. We don't. Well, I'll never ask you about business books because we don't read them. Lisa, do you read business books?
Yes, I do. And I've read so many. I love to read anyway. And I've read so many books and business books. The one that I am reading right now, I really like. It's Achievement Addict, the Overachiever's 12-Step Guide to Peace, Presence, and a Life Beyond Doing. And that really is something that I need because that's me. I've always been an overachiever and I want to do everything. And if there's 10 networking events on a night, I want to go to all of them. And it's actually someone that I met in 2020 through LinkedIn on a Zoom like networking thing. She's not even from South Jersey. So, it's weird how things come around, but yeah, that's what I'm reading right now.
She's overachieving with that damn long title. Oh my God.
Yeah, well,
that's like, how
that's
many
why it was
parentheses
like, again, she's an overachiever and she tells you the 12 steps. And it's interesting to me because, through this path in real estate, there's a lot of things that I've done in my life that, again, is an addiction, and overachieving is truly an addiction. Okay. You got to let loose of some of that stuff. So
Exactly. How about you, Alexis? Do you read the business books? Because I'm sure Tim Gwynn has them all around the damn office.
He does for sure. I can't say I really do, honestly. I do enjoy reading and different things like that, but I like listening to podcasts more than anything, like listening to those just motivational podcasts or just kind of speakers, even if it's not to do with business, but about like building careers. I love listening about like startups and those kind of podcasts, just learning kind of what their process was like and how they went through it. I think having that real life kind of struggle and just hearing about it and how they got through it just interests me more than, opening up the book and reading about the steps and everything like that. But there are definitely a lot of business books around this office for sure.
Okay. And people, if you listen to podcasts, go to coopertalk.net. I have over 1,000 episodes. Actually, if you saw the movie 16 Candles, I just interviewed Long Duck Dong, the actor who played him. Very fascinating. That's coming up. And Thomas Dolby, the 80s musician, my latest episode. He's a professor now at Johns Hopkins, and he also is an entrepreneur. He started a company called Beatnik in Silicon Valley, and all those early Nokia phone tones, that was him. So that's this guy, you got to listen. That's right now, coopertalk.net. You'll love it. Fascinating guy. And here's the final question of the day. Advice. Someone comes up to you, they're starting out, they can be starting out in business, they can get out of college, trade school, someone wants to start a new career, someone just wants to figure it out. You're playing the mentor role to them. What do you tell them? We'll start with you, Alexis. What do you tell a person? They come up, and you're younger, but you said you mentor some people. What advice do you give to people when they come up to you, and one advice about how do we make this life work or business work?
Yeah, I think the biggest advice I usually give is to take a risk on going into an industry you never thought you would be in. I never thought I would be in technology or IT. I didn't even know what an MSP was on my first day, and that's literally what we do. So I think it's taking that risk and going into verticals and being uncomfortable with it, because you never know what will come of it. I mean, I'm almost 3 years here and I never thought I would be. So definitely taking the risk and kind of willing to kind of open your mind up to what's really out there, and don't have a closed mind to your profession. Realize there's room for growth, and kind of taking that risk would be my best advice.
Okay. How about you, Becky?
I would say I would help them come up with a plan, but then also help them come up with a backup plan. So then if they do end up not following either, at least they have options to kind of lead them in some kind of direction, hopefully.
Okay. How about you, Lisa?
I would say be yourself and work hard.
All right. See that? So people, you have advice there. I want to thank you for all coming on. Alexis, how can people get in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me through LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me, and then we can go from there.
And don't slide into her DMs, you bastards. Becky, how can people get in touch with you?
LinkedIn works for me as well. Thank you, Steve.
And Lisa?
LinkedIn works for me.
Okay, so people, it's Alexis D'Amico, it's Becky Ritucci, and Lisa Bosley. And once again, seriously, if I get a message from any of them that you're slipping into their DMs, there's going to be hell to, I know a lot of people, there's going to be hell to deal with. People, you can get in touch with me at the Coop Tank at yahoo.com. Go to YouTube, check out the Coop Tank, search it, watch it. You'll get a lot of good information. Comment on it, subscribe. Starting very soon, you can also email, I'm starting a class. It's Cooper's comedy classes. Basically, if you're afraid of speaking in public, or if you have anxiety when you're going to a networking event, you know, you can sit there, you can go into these bullshit Zoom things about public speaking, but you're not learning anything. It's a 4-week course. You come in with other people. We find out why you're afraid of speaking, and we start working on a comedy routine for you. And at the end, you get up on stage. And I'm going to tell you something. If you ever try to do stand-up comedy, even if you die, you've made a step more than most people will in the world, and that will cure your speaking fear. So do that. Check that out there. Also, the next Cocktails with Cooper is July 10th. Don't forget Joe Gangemi, SuiteRecording, SUITE recording.com. Check out Joe. He's the best producer around. That's why I come here. And that's about it. Stay cool. It's hot out. And I'm Steve Cooper, and I will talk to you all next week.